Breaking news into CBS Sports HQ. It's a coronation for the Cream and Crimson. Fourth quarter chaos. Indiana up by 3. Hoosiers go for it on 4th and 5 and convert. Fernando Mendoza connects with his roommate, Charlie Becker, who makes an incredible catch. And then later in the drive from the 12-yard line, the Hoosiers go for it again on 4th and 5. And it's a Mendoza miracle, a quarterback draw to give the Hoosiers a 24-14 lead. Miami answered on the next drive. But then when less than 2 minutes left, Miami gets the ball back down by 6. But Jamari Sharp picks off Carson Beck to seal the game. It was Sharp's first interception of the season and the biggest of his life, securing Indiana's first national championship in school history. Back here with Bryant McFadden and Adam Brenneman. And this is a moment that the entire state of Indiana has been waiting for. Fans of Hoosiers, fans of Fernando Mendoza, fans of Curt Cignetti. This is the moment, Adam, that they have been waiting for so long, and they just won their first national championship. Your reaction is what here as we watch this unfold? Absolute cinema.
Yeah, Indiana football went from an afterthought in college football to one of the greatest stories our sport's ever seen. I mean, what Indiana pulled off this season, last season, to now to come to this moment and win the national championship game against a team like Miami. It is incredible. It proves that Curt Cignetti is not just one of the greatest coaches in recent college football, one of the greatest coaches of all time, no matter what the sport. This turnaround and how down bad this Indiana program was just 3 years ago to now in January 2026 to be national champions, BMAC, incredible.
The greatest story in sports in general. I can care less what sport we're talking about. The greatest story in sports, for the historically speaking, Indiana football has been a laughing stock.
Yep.
A program that no one took seriously. Anytime you played against Indiana, I would assume, because I never played against Indiana, but I would assume by halftime your starters are expected to be out of the ball game because it's a blowout. When you talk about this university and the alum that they have right now, just to be able to be in this moment. And the thing about Curt Cignetti is not just about how prolific he's been, but he's given an entire fan base belief that not only can we go out and win, but we can do so in a consistent way, and not to mention compete for championships. We saw what he did in year one, right? Only having 2 losses, getting into the playoffs, ultimately losing to Notre Dame. So everyone was saying, well, maybe that was a lucky strike for Curt Cignetti in Indiana. Well, he went up, came back in year 2 and did it better. So when you look at this program and moving forward, I don't see them slowing down anytime soon, because now, because of the way he coaches and the results, if you're a high school prospect and you want to be coached by one of the best coaches in college football, you go to Indiana. If you're a transfer and you want to be coached by one of the best coaches in college football, you go to Indiana, because clearly the results will follow him. And he said in his initial statement, Google me, I win. He wasn't lying.
Greatest turnaround in college football history. Before his arrival in Bloomington, Indiana had the most losses in FBS history. And you talk about the guys who transferred in, the biggest transfer in Indiana history, Fernando Mendoza comes in from Cal, wins the Heisman Trophy in his first season, wins the national championship in his first season. And the play he made on 4th and 5 from the 12-yard line, Adam, that will go down as one of the greatest plays in sports history. What was on the line, the moment, the stakes was incredible what he did in that moment.
Yeah, it was a gutsy call by Curt Cignetti to go for it on 4th down and 5 when you're up 3 points. You have the chance to go up 6 in that situation. You keep your offense on the field, and then you let your quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who, BMAC, you called it pregame, and you said, look out for Fernando Mendoza's legs in this game. And in the most critical moment, Fernando Mendoza made the play happen. And let's be clear, that was not an easy run. It was not wide open. It took great vision. It took toughness. And remember, Fernando Mendoza early in this game took a cheap shot right to his face, was bleeding from his lip, blood everywhere, and kept getting back up. And then the biggest moment seals the game or gives his team a great chance to win with that 4th down conversion.
I'm pretty sure for the viewers that were watching the game in real time, like we were watching the game in real time, it was pretty much a house divided, because for us in the green room, you had half saying go for it, you had the other half saying don't go for it, right? And we were going back and forth, and then when they decided to go for it, and the actual play call, to Adam's point. Just the guts to call a quarterback draw, because up until that point, Hakeem, we didn't really see any QB design running plays for Fernando Mendoza. So that was the first time they called a quarterback design run. But then in terms of the execution and the grit and the willingness to be able to not just convert the 5 yards, but score in a moment where scoring touchdowns were very, very difficult, especially for Indiana in the second half. And that just, he didn't do a lot with his arms, but he still had a significant impact in that ball game, and clearly most of his impact happened on that 4th down conversion.
Well, let's talk about the 4th and 5 they converted earlier in that drive to his roommate, Charlie Becker, a guy that was from the last regime in Bloomington. Curt Cignetti did not recruit Charlie Becker. He had to earn his way here, earn his playing time. First 9 games of the season, he had 7 catches for 157 yards and a touchdown. Last 7 games, 27 catches, 522 yards, 3 touchdowns. The impact that Charlie Becker had on this team, the big moments that he had throughout the season, and making that catch in that moment, this is what we talked about. This is a team. It's not necessarily filled with all these 5 stars. It's guys that grind. It's guys who make a name for himself like Charlie Becker.
Yeah, Charlie Becker is a good example of Curt Cignetti getting the best out of his players. How do you elevate someone who hasn't been a long-time starter, who wasn't a big-time recruit? I'll tell you right now, a season ago, there wasn't probably a team in Power 4 football who would think Charlie Becker could start at their program. And right now, he's making huge plays in the national title game, 4th down and 5. He was 4 catches, 65 yards, made huge plays all throughout the playoff and the Big Ten championship game to get to this point. As you said, roommates with Fernando Mendoza, you can feel that chemistry on those timing routes. Even when the throw's a little bit off, Charlie Becker makes the play. It is really a telling point to what Curt Cignetti has done when Charlie Becker plays the level he does. He's playing like a 5-star despite being a 2-star.
I think Charlie Becker is the epitome of what their team embolizes in terms of the mindset and the structure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies growing up was Space Jam, right? With Michael Jordan, the original one. And you guys remember in Space Jam when they were playing against the Monstars, I forgot what cartoon character came out with the magical water. Had all the characters thinking it was a special potion in the water, and when they drank it, they became very, very athletic. But actually, it was only water. And Michael Jordan had all of them thinking it was something special. He gave them belief. That's what Curt Cignetti did, not only with Charlie Becker, but the entire team. Gave them belief. He had them thinking that Gatorade or Powerade, whatever it is they're drinking in week-to-week basis, is something special in that for them to be able to play to the level that they're playing at. And that's what we're seeing, because you talked about it. Charlie Becker has been a guy who hasn't really played throughout his time at Indiana before Curt Cignetti got there. Right? So it wasn't like he was playing behind a bunch of 4 and 5 stars, elite-like players. He just couldn't get on the football field. And when Cignetti got there, he thought about transferring. Curt said, no, I want you to stay. I see something in you. He gave him belief, and he waited, and he was patient for his opportunity. And when the opportunity happened, he cashed in, and he never looked back. When you talk about all the past catches that we highlighted, Cooper, Surratt, who had the bigger impact? Charlie Becker. Charlie Becker had the biggest impact in this game when you look at the wide receivers. And this is for young players that might not get their opportunity in the month of September and October. Stay patient, because now we're living in a world where guys do what? Get in the portal. They're quick to get in the portal instead of being patient and waiting for the opportunity. Charlie Becker waited the opportunity, and guess what? He's a national household name right now.
Well, and the play of the game was Mendoza running it in, but the play that sealed it was Jamari Sharp with his first interception of the season. I mean, you want to talk about a kid coming up clutch at the right moment, picks off Carson Beck. Really the only mistake that Carson Beck made throwing the football on this night, and that seals the deal. And this shows you just this team. We saw a special teams touchdown. We saw the run game finally come alive late. We saw Charlie Becker. And then we see the defense.
Yeah, the defense came up in the moment in the second half, Hakeem, where it felt like Miami had the upper hand on the Hoosiers defensively with how they were driving down the football field to score points. And we look at Sharp. Sharp is a South Florida kid. Miami, went to school there at Northwestern, so it was a homecoming